you guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Storytime with the Group Us. My name's Shaina. This is my brother Blaze. Take it away, Daniel.
Hey guys, it's Daniel. Blaze, I am happy to have you on. I don't believe we have ever had the luxury of having you on the podcast. What have you been up to, my man?
No, he's only been on the live episode that we did at Hulaween a few years ago.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So anything Hulaween, I've got him reeled in.
Yeah, she speaks for me. Nah, I just work all the time, working and try to catch some live shows when I can.
Who else have you seen this summer?
The most recent, I did 2 nights of Fish at Deer Creek. That was a lot of fun. And I got actually this weekend I'm gonna go see Tedeschi Trucks Band and Alabama Shakes.
What?
Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
My friend Peanut had an extra ticket for me, and I don't have to work. So, cheers.
The more
Well,
the merrier.
I am so happy that you get to see the pride of Athens, Alabama. I tell Brittany I said hello. Her and Zach were practically our neighbors. They used to live just like 2 miles from our house back in the day when the band first blew up. We would literally see them in the grocery store sometimes. It was wild, man. Now they're
awesome.
sub-headliners at all these festivals. I'm so happy for them. How was Fish? Charlotte and I are going to see them in October down here at the Orion in Huntsville.
Fish is fun. I always say they're like not my favorite band, but every time I see them, I'm like, is that the greatest show I ever saw? And Saturday was unreal. And I'm not even a big Fish fan. And I was hearing people who, they've been to hundreds of shows were like, that was the best one ever. But they also might say that every show. But no, it was a lot of fun. I enjoy going to Deer Creek for Fish when I can. It's almost like a little mini festival out there. Like you're walking around Shakedown and there's, just tie-dye everywhere. And you're like, wait, am I at a music festival?
What was
It
the
definitely has
weirdest
that
thing?
vibe.
What was the weirdest thing that you saw at that Shakedown Street?
Gosh. Honestly, I don't think I really saw anything weird. The coolest thing, the people selling beers for $1. That's always.
That's how it's not. Well, inflation
like,
has
a
hit us in
marshmallow?
Huntsville. When they have the Shakedown at the Orion, it's like $2 out there for like some IPA or something like that. It's fun. I think our Shakedown is a little different than what you experienced. They have it in a parking lot over here at the Orion when we have somebody like Billy or Fish or whoever. But it's still fun. It's a dream of mine to take the bus to one of these days. But they want you there like the whole time. So I would have to take like 2 days off of work. It's tricky.
Yeah, it can be a lot. I was in it. They do the 3 nights, and I was able to go 2, which I was thankful for. But yeah, I couldn't go Friday.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see them. I'm glad you had a good time. Now, we wanted to get into Hulaween. Charlotte and I are about to disappear for a week or two when we're out west, but I know it's starting to get to the nitty gritty for Hula this year, is it not? Are you guys starting to plot out all of your misadventures over there?
We probably should start playing.
In my defense, I have slowly started. Because this year with our group, it's kind of a loophole crossover of my forest fam. I have a lot of friends that do electric forest that are going this year. So we're going to have a little bit bigger of a group than I normally do. Usually it's just about like maybe 5 to 10 of us and it's pretty small and intimate of loophole that goes. But I've started to wrangle them in. As the lineup has dropped in daily ones, I have some more friends that are like, hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there. If they camp with us, we will see, because we all know how 80 acres is. And, you can only hold so much land.
I finally got to experience that for myself. I want to hear from you guys before I talk about my experience, though. Like, I know Hula is a big deal for you guys, probably like right behind Bonnaroo, I think. Can you tell me, like, why it has become, like, kind of like, is it safe to say your second favorite festival?
For me, it might have surpassed Rue. Like, I'll always have love for Bonnaroo, but like Hulaween, for me, just hits all those right boxes. Like, I love the freedom aspect of just like camping wherever you want. You're not like assigned a spot. It's kind of just you go in there and good luck. And the first few years can be a bit intimidating, but once you start, getting more familiar with the park, it becomes a little easier. The weather, it's, October compared to June.
Last year was brutal.
Last year
was brutally cold.
Oh God, yeah. It was
Was that the
freezing
coldest
last
that
year.
it-
It was so
Was that the coldest that it gets down there? Like, it was my first time last time, so I was like, this is normal for all that I know. I had to this probably wasn't the safest idea, but I took a bunch of those like hot hands things that you rub and it gets hot, and I put it in my sleeping bag at night to keep warm because it was like in the 40s, I want to say. That was tough.
It was real. It's gotten down that cold before, but I feel like it was that cold every day last year, and it was
Except Sunday.
It was pretty intense. Yeah, Sunday was nice.
Sunday was nice, but yeah, for me going, because I was only my 4th year, that's the coldest it's been consecutively the whole time. Because usually there's times where I could be in Spirit Lake and like not feel like I'm freezing, but I know the first 2 nights of Hulu last year, I literally was like, let's go to the fire so I can like function and stay warm.
That was pretty tough. Like, it's weird for me being at a music festival when it's that cold. I can handle the heat at Bonnaroo. I know a lot of people can't, but to me, that's kind of fun. Me and Charlotte are weird like that. But when it was like in the 40s, when we were still going to shows that first night or two, that was like a foreign thing to me, man. It took a little bit to wrap my head around.
Yeah, it's like I had thermals on. I was all layered up, and I was still cold last year. It was bad.
Shayna, why has Hulaween become such a big deal to you? Why has it quickly in those 4 years become so important?
Well, so my first Hulaween was back in 2018. So I went in 2018 and then I kind of took a gap and I didn't come back till 23. And then I've been coming back every year since. And I kind of exactly what he said. I love Hulaween. I love Bonnaroo. Obviously, everyone knows that. We run Loophole. We do all the fun stuff. I love Hulaween because of the differences of it. It's the same, but different. Like Hulaween, there's more freedom to it. It's a lot smaller also.
Yes.
The size, because the other thing too is like, 2 of the like 11 or however many of us we have on the basic page at Bonnaroo, a lot of people know us. And for years, people always recognize me as his little sister. So it's like, I'm always running into people I know, which I love, but I also love at Hulaween that does not happen as often. It's like, I'm at every single cheese set at Hulaween. And so by the end of that weekend, I'm usually standing in the same spot. I'm finding the same people I'm dancing and vibing with, but it's not like the constant Bonnaroo of where like I'm walking almost everywhere and within 15 minutes, I'm running into someone I know. And the lineup is I'd say it's a little different than Rue. Myself personally, I go more into my jam mode when I'm at Hulaween and I stay locked at those 2 main stages pretty much the whole time. And then I digress off into some EDM. But I like it also because, it's not a huge grounds like Bonnaroo. If I want to be at the Meadows or the Hollows and then go see a show at the Spirit Lake stage, I can walk there and come back and not worry about having to like buff through the crowds or like get lost on my way. I mean, I could probably still get lost. It's me. But, I can find my way back very easily. Then I also like that there's extra things there that Bonnaroo doesn't have. They have the river, which I did not go to last year. It was too cold. But They have that. Their general store's top tier. And also, you can have campfires at camp. There was one year I went where they could not have them. I think there was a burn ban or something maybe.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of years where they had a burn ban and you couldn't have fires.
Yeah, but aside from that, like it really feels like, a camping aspect. Like, yes, it is camping at a festival, but adding that campfire in the mix, it's so fun to come back at the end of the night, have a fire going and just chill with your friends at the campsite and kind of wind down for the evening. So I like it. It's also my kind of always conclusion to the festival season. I wrap up my festival seasons with Hulaween. That's always the last one for the year. So it's a nice kind of cap to the whole year and looking back on all the other shows that I've went to.
And you get 6 sets of cheese.
Yeah.
That's if you're lactose intolerant, you better be prepared.
You covered a lot of what I came to love about it. I am going to be back at some point. Obviously not this year because me and Charlotte have some other travel plans, but much of what you just described is what made me fall in love with the place. So Blaze, I love the anarchy of it that you mentioned. I realize that it can be a little intimidating to first timers if you don't have a big group that's going to save you space in the campgrounds. Yeah. That would have been a problem for me if I wasn't meeting a bunch of our friends down there. Like, I wouldn't have known the first thing. I would have been afraid that I was imposing on somebody's space. If there was somebody in that situation that's just coming like by themselves or as a couple or just like 2 or 3 friends, what would you tell them in terms of like how to find a camping space?
I think finding a camping space, part of it depends on, figuring out where you want to camp out. Because the campgrounds, there is a huge spot. I know my first year that I joined you guys, we actually weren't where we normally always are at in 80 acres. We were by that house. And so there's different aspects to how you want to camp. So there is a lot of spots. And what I do recommend is, figuring out what your vibe is with your group and also how big is your group. I might sound logistical here too, but if you're arriving earlier, you have more time to go walk around and see where you want to go. If you're coming in on Thursday, you got to know the layout of the land because it looks like it's packed. But I've walked through the campground, especially 80 acres in the back, and I'm like, oh, there's still surprisingly space out here.
Yeah, there's always going to be space, and like she said, I recommend getting there earlier if possible, especially if you're new to the place. Definitely try to get there earlier because people like to get there soon and they like to take up spots. They tell people like, oh, no caution tape and taping off sections, but we know how that goes.
It's gonna happen.
I noticed that when I came in. So Brooklyn and I came down last year, and we came in a little late. Thankfully, people did save space for us. I'm thankful for that. I know that can be a no-no in some situations. We didn't have that much of a problem, honestly, because of that. So I have the map pulled up on the screen. I think you guys should see it, and if anybody's watching on YouTube, they should have it up as well. So, like right here where I'm circling is the 80 acres area that you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So normally where we go at is because it's opposite of where we were at last year, Daniel. It was like basically the entrance of 80 acres where the playground is at.
I like that little area. That was
so
cool.
we always try to go like right behind the playground into 80 acres because there's a shower house right there. There's food vendors right there. And also there's like a straight shot into the festival from there. It's a 5-minute walk. Stop, Abel.
Are you usually able to find space back there when you come in? I know you said you're coming in early.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really had trouble coming in. Like I said, our group, though, most of us come in very early. And that's why, like, this year, the group's a little bit bigger. I've given a disclaimer as, I can hold only so much space. Advice I have to someone is, if you're coming in like can you even go in on Tuesday this year? Wednesday?
I think you can go in on
Tuesday. If you're coming in Tuesday and you have a friend coming in Thursday, maybe bring their tent with you and set it up.
Yeah.
That's what we did at Electric Forest because that camp where we camped out was like a free for all. And so we had a group of 15 friends coming in from Canada and they brought all the infrastructure. So we had everyone's base set up. So the space was already taken and was easy to be there.
And just like Bonnaroo, like make friends with your neighbors, tell them, work together. Like, hey, like we got so many people coming in, like we need this much space. You guys can use this space, When you do it like that, it definitely works a lot easier instead of just taping off a bunch of spots and being like, yep, sorry, taken.
Some of the few times I did see people get like just a little testy over the weekend when I was there was in those situations in which people were coming in and people were saying like, no, that's saved. And they would look at like a giant acre of land and be like, really? Come on, dude.
Yeah, no. It's
other
kind of the same. Bonnaroo is the rules. Like, make friends with your neighbors as soon as you jump out of the car, introduce yourself. I always do that with Hulaween. I'm just like, hey, do you have anybody else coming? I give them a heads up and always say, if you need help setting up or if you need anything, we're over here. And that's the easiest way to make friends. And also, if something happens, you have people around. So, know your neighbors.
Yeah. One other thing I want to look at while we have this map up is the Wookville area. Can you guys explain that and tell me exactly where it was? I looked for it. I could never find it. And I certainly heard it. I heard it everywhere.
So
could I tell you where it is?
Please.
Absolutely not. But I'm not, and I'm not saying that because I don't want to tell you. I just don't know how I found it.
You find it music. It's not officially on the map.
Yeah, I think it's just people set it up in 80 acres somewhere. But 80 acres is huge.
I think it's in the middle of 80 acres. To be honest, it's in 80 acres. I believe it's in the middle because, like I said last year, Dan, where we were camped, we were kind of on the opposite end of 80 acres near the river, and my brother's camp was by the playground. Walking and passing through it, it's somewhere in the middle. Okay. So if you're going to Hulaween, and honestly, this is the best way to explain everything of Hulaween, is very vague, very vague instructions, is just listen for the music. Also, they had lasers last year, so look for really big shiny lights.
It was insane. I could see it and hear it, but every night that I went wandering around in the campground, eventually finding my way back to my camp, I never could find it for the life of me. I will say my personal advice to anyone that's thinking about going that hasn't been is to camp at this area that these two were talking about, kind of near the playground. I think it isn't as unhinged down there. And when I say that, I mean like freight train EDM at like 4 a.m. when you're just like, okay, I'm ready to go to sleep now. That got a little wild. And Brooklyn and I were talking one night when it was like 3 a.m. and we heard that stuff. We looked at each other and we were like, Charla would hate this. But like, if I ever get her down there, I'm going to make sure that we camp in this area that you guys were talking about. I think it would be a little bit more tolerable. That's just me, though. I know some people will love being in the thick of it and all those renegades.
Well, 80 Acres is also kind of tagged, I think, by Hulaween as like that is where majority of the Renegade sets are. So to be honest, if you're wanting quiet, I would recommend the Bat House or the Bird Sanctuary.
The way down
that
south
area.
down here.
Yep, that's a little bit quieter. My first year, we had the Bat House, and I slept fine. I don't remember there being loud party. Like I remember us walking to Renegades and stuff, and so I was able to get a lot of sleep. But I also am the type of person, if I sit down, if I fit, I sit and I'm asleep. So like it doesn't take much for me.
Yeah, I never have problems with sleep. So I mean, people can be partying up all night at my camp, and I'll be fine.
We did that at Rue this year, actually.
I'm getting older, man. So one other thing I want to take a look at real quick while we're looking at maps is this one of the actual kind of stage layout that's up in there. One thing I loved that I have loved at other festivals that I have been to is having the opposing stages. So like one show ends on the Hallow stage and then another begins immediately on the Meadow stage. And like one of the most wholesome moments of the whole weekend last year for me was when Disco Biscuits ended and then they threw it to String Cheese, or maybe it was vice versa. They like had like a quick like minute or two conversation from each stage. I thought that was the coolest thing when they kind of passed it off. You know? But that was great. I have rarely seen a stage setup that worked as well when you do the back and forth thing. I kind of wish that's what we had at Bonnaroo with the what stage in that tent, but it didn't work out quite so well. But while I have this up, can you guys explain a little bit about like Spirit Lake and all the fun stuff that's over there? I understand that it's going to be just a little bit bigger this year, if I read right.
Spirit Lake is, I think, if I didn't mention that earlier, that's one thing that I think stands out above Bonnaroo to me in so many ways. Is like the art installations that they have in Spirit Lake. It's unreal. There's some stuff in there. Like, I don't want to, if you plan on going, I don't want to say too much, but wait till nighttime to go into Spirit Lake for the first time, because it will blow your mind. There's just so many cool interactive art installations that I've never seen anywhere else.
On the lake projection show, that one's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that one's one
wild.
of the top tier ones. That's top tier. I believe last year it was not 360, so you could only go down a portion of Spirit Lake. Something else I do love about Hulaween is, the people that run it really listen to their fans and really listen to the people that are coming back. So I'll give them a major shout out because they've been doing a lot of changes. They dropped GA ticket prices this year. They listened to feedback and they're changing it back to a 360 Spirit Lake. For me personally, that means there's going to be less sound bleed at the Spirit Lake stage, the off limits stage, but then also the projection water show. It does have audio to it. That's one of my favorite spots to go and just sit down and watch it. I can get lost in that for like 2 hours at a time and forget that there's live music going on because it's so cool. And like Marlo said, I don't want to ruin any art that's there or any installations. But they have really cool art there. And also, if you guys didn't know, they do have art for sale that is in Spirit Lake from artists that are there on site that are doing murals and canvases. I believe there was a silent auction one year. I don't know if that's every year, but yeah, you should check it out. 2 years ago, some of our group campers bought some pieces of work. And so I'm setting money aside so I can find some cool artwork to bring back because it's the artwork, like my brother said, the artwork, honestly, it blows Bonnaroo out of the water. The art installations, the art, I will stand on that hill. I can challenge Bonnaroo to step up your game. Don't use AI on your freaking merch. I still don't know how to say it. But yeah, it's amazing. That's what I'm looking forward to the most is bringing my friends that have never went to Hulaween this year is Spirit Lake itself. It's just, unless you've been there to experience it, it's something completely unknown.
For me, it was wild because a lot of people that go every year were saying like, oh, this isn't as big as it used to be. And I'm like, really? Because this was kind of insane to me. Like all the interactive games and crazy things that you saw next to the water. I don't want to like call any of it out either because I agree. It's almost like a spoiler for a movie. You have to go find it. And Blaze, you had the right suggestion for that. Go at night because I made the mistake. I went during the day because I had heard so much about it. I went during the day the first time. And I was like, oh yeah, well, this is pretty cool. But then I went back after it got dark after a show, and it's
yeah,
like,
and you'll have that with
okay,
festivals.
I get what you
And you'll have that, you're going to have people that's returned every year. It's just like all of us with Bonnery, we can critique it because we've been going for years, but then it doesn't diminish someone that's never been experienced. And so that's where I always try to take it as a grain of salt is, I've seen these changes last year. I think I did that with you in Brooklyn. You guys are so excited. I still love Spirit Lake. Don't get me wrong. But then me as going years before, I was like, I liked it more as 360. But,
I understand.
It is what it is, and we get what we get each year. And so I'm just grateful that we're going to be back again this year because I love Hulu.
Yeah, like you said, if it was my first time last year, I would have been blown away by like everything. Like, wait, what? There was more to that?
Exactly. But wait, there's more.
There's two other things I wanted to call out too that I thought was super cool. So that off limit stage where it's kind of like a 360 situation. You've got people all around the stage and they invite people to come up and dance. I think Lisa from our crew went up there. And also the amphitheater stage, I was super impressed with that too. There's like kind of a sloping hill that's like a miniature version of the Orion here in Huntsville. We saw Future Joy over there when we first came in, and I was like, okay, this is legit. Even like the smaller stages each have like a unique identity and like a really good sound and a really good look. That was the thing that made me realize like, oh, this is not exactly the, homegrown Wookiee thing. This is like a professional setup, and it made me realize that I was going to be back eventually.
Yeah, I love the stages. I think my first year, actually, the amp used to be able to have hammocks there. I'm kind of glad we got rid of that because it was a nightmare.
It was chaos. People just had hammocks everywhere. You had to bob and weave to try to get up close.
I've clotheslined myself so many times trying to leave the amp because of hammocks that I couldn't see at night. I'm just like, all right, I'm not going back down there.
No, I remember that happening at Okeechobee. Like, they were pretty anarchic about the rules about hammocks and stuff. So it didn't matter where I went, there would be like this multi-layered Wook skyscraper of hammocks everywhere. And it was hilarious, but also I couldn't get anywhere because like I was always in a maze of like that kind of nonsense. It was fun though. All right. So let's take a look at the lineup for this year. So I am jealous that you guys get my morning jacket and Pretty Lights 2 nights in a row. That would have gotten me there on its own. But tell me some of the other names that you're looking forward to.
It's my first time seeing my morning jacket. I'm so excited.
Oh, you're gonna have a
I was about to say you could do a 3-hour long talk on my morning jacket if you allow him.
Probably. But no, of course I'm excited for jacket. Cheese.
Pretty Lights.
I've heard good things about Geese. I've liked what I've heard, but I haven't been blown away, so I'm kind of excited to see what they do. Because a lot of people put them pretty high, and I enjoy what I heard, but I didn't love it. So we'll see.
I think Geese is like one of those bands where like you understand it a lot more once you see them live. Their recorded stuff, especially stuff that's like, trendy on Spotify, is kind of like slower and very avant-garde, but when you see them live, they have like a way bigger energy than they have on the recorded stuff, in just my opinion.
No, yeah, and I think like my morning jacket's that same way. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I had to slip them into that. But who else?
I do want to highlight
SPS9's gonna be fun.
SPS9. I'm excited to see Unknown Mortal Orchestra. I'm
surprised you skipped over your favorite Excision. If you don't know, my brother really doesn't listen to bass, so I have to get that in there.
Yeah, it's not my thing, but hey, for all the people who love it, I'm sure it's gonna be the best show of your life. So hey, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, the Thursday I've got the daily like the daily lineup pulled up on my phone. The Thursday is kind of like, I feel like for bass heads there, because there wasn't really much jam what I saw listed on there. Because I'm excited for Cranked Out. I'm excited. Excision, I'll be honest, I could probably only handle about 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to go. The bass is just, I love bass, but even for me, I have a line I have to draw.
I mean, I made the joke, like, even if I'm not at Excision, I'll hear it somewhere.
Exactly. Then Eggy's on Friday.
Eggy and Iodo. Dope Lemon is really good. I've really enjoyed listening to them. I'm excited to see them.
I like them a lot.
I'm not sure if it's a group or
got really into Adam.
I am curious where they're going to put
Pretty sure it's
Levity
free.
at. I will be excited for Levity. I have a feeling they may be at the Amp, but I feel like they could also be at the Hollows or Meadows. So I'm excited about them. I don't think, what day are they? They're Saturday. So that's going to be interesting.
You guys need to make sure that you go see Sound Tribe for me too. I have really come to love them over the past 5 or so years.
Oh, yeah.
If I was
Sound Tribe?
going, I would
Yes,
really
right.
hope that STS9. I would really hope that they would put them at the
Sound Tribe's
amphitheater.
sick
That
for
would
it.
be a vibe.
STS9 was at my first Hulaween. They were actually at the Amp, but I remember that's where I clotheslined myself with the stinking hammocks trying to get to them.
Did they play on Saturday?
STS9 plays on Friday, so Friday is off.
Friday,
Friday's going to be a busy day.
Yeah,
Frost-
Friday's my day.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they play after My Morning Jacket like they did at Bonnaroo a couple years ago. That'd be nice.
That would be nice. I'm just hoping the Frost Children, they have a DJ set on Friday also. Please do not conflict with My Morning Jacket. That's going to just like break my heart into 1,000 pieces.
There are no conflicts for me with that. I don't need to see the schedule.
That was one nice thing for me when I went last year. Even if there was a conflict, it wasn't very hard to get around their version of Cinnaru to like see part of one show and then jump to another. I could go, even if it was across the whole place, I could get from like the big stage to like that back corner in just like 5 or 10 minutes. It was no big deal.
It's not too bad. I will say at Hulaween last year, I was leaving the crowd during the beginning of Millennium to go like frolic in Spirit Lake and just like seeing all of the like EDM heads running at me as I'm trying to frolic away. And I'm like, oh, I gotta stay, but I gotta go. I gotta stay. I gotta go. It was tricky. Who else was I going to shout out that was on the lineup? Oh, Daily Bread. I caught Daily Bread at Bonnaroo, and I had so much fun at that set. So I am going to be there again. Don't you guys worry. I will be there for everybody, as well as Maddie O'Neill, and then where is it? I know she's on here. Karina Reichman.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
also on Friday.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Jim James will bring her out. I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah, she just played with them at some music festival. I can't remember the name of it. But
Yeah, but she shreds. If you guys are listening and are unsure, check her out. I was so impressed. I'm excited. I'm getting a little bit of the best of both worlds with this lineup. And like you said, Daniel, too, the venue is not too large. It's not like the size of Bonnaroo to where it's like, if you want to cut across the venue to go see an act, you can do that. It's not, I mean, you can also do it at Bonnaroo, but it's, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So there's many acts I will plan to see.
And don't miss the theme set.
Yeah.
Obviously, go to every cheese set you can, but the theme set is another thing that makes Hulaween really special. It's just like, it's like one show that just brings most of the people together. Obviously, not everybody's there, but I mean, there's so many people there, and like the theatrics of it, it's unlike anything else. I mean, I know they do something similar to Forest, but I've never been to Forest, so I've only got Hulaween to go off of.
Yeah. Their shebang at Forest, their sound went out like the first 30 minutes in, and I had ran to the porta potties, and I was like, what happened to the sound? And they're like, we're going to take our scheduled break right now. Abel, get down. Sorry. They're like, we're going to take our scheduled break right now. Because they were playing with Spangle, so then they came back out with Spangle, and, it was a great time. But, yeah, I will say compared Forest to Hulaween, the shebangs at Hulaween are a lot more bang.
You guys are right, though. The one last year was a vibe. You're right, Blaze, that it felt like everybody was there. It felt like they pulled out all the stops. I think there was like pyro and some other crazy stuff in addition to costumes. But that was a blast. I see what you're talking about with that now that I've been to it. All right, guys, to round it out, if you had any top tips for anybody that's coming to their first one this year, what would your advice be to them?
Bring clothes for every season of the year.
Yep.
Because
That's a good
it can
one.
get really cold at night, but it's also Florida, and it may be October, but it can get pretty hot in the daytime. And at the main stages, there's really not a whole lot of shade. So, I mean, just be prepared for that. And also the dust.
Yeah.
Like, get yourself a N95 mask or something, because it can get pretty brutal, especially at night, because you're not thinking about it. And then, yeah, you'll realize it the next day.
Shaina, how about you? What would you tell everybody?
She took my tips. Dang it. So, yeah, okay, piggybacking. Shoot, those are my tips. Prepare yourself. A big tip I would give is with your camp, have some sort of decoration that's lights up to find your way back home at night, because it can get dark in the campgrounds. So, a flashlight, headlamp, one of those two. Walk around the campgrounds at day, but I promise you at nighttime, it's going to look like a completely different ball game. So gather your bearings early and just be prepared.
It gets extremely dark in the campground
It was
tonight.
tricky. I'm going to be honest. That was the most challenging thing to me last year, aside from the cold weather the first couple of days. Like, I had to like memorize a number of different landmarks in order to find our camp. I don't know if I've told you the story, but one night we were at the group, and Lisa and I, Lisa from Jersey, we both decided that we wanted to come back to camp. It was about 2, and there was a bunch of shows the next day. We're like, let's go. And neither of us could remember how to get there, and we had to like kind of figure it out between the two of us. I lost all track of every landmark that I thought I had memorized, and somehow we made it back. To this day, I don't know how we made it back. Me and her figured it out together. So I would tell everybody, have a flashlight on you because it gets dark. You might be tripping on some stuff. Remember those landmarks, and just God be with you because it's not easy.
And be wary of some of the grounds. Some of those grounds are kind of sandy, and it can
Yeah,
trick you.
there was a big
on those
sand
walk back to camp.
Yeah. Shaina, do you remember like
Oh, yeah, there's a
just
big sand
north
pit. Yep.
of our campsite, there was a big sand pit, and somebody had some like 4-wheel drive trucks, and they went camping down in there. I was just like, y'all crazy, but I respect it.
Every year that happens because those are the people that I believe, and I could be wrong. Maybe these are just a group that they do this every year, but every year I've seen it. I always assume that these people that came in late and they set up there not realizing there's other spots that they can camp.
All right. By the way, you have to introduce your third co-host that's there with you. He was making a ruckus earlier.
Yeah. Why I keep stepping away is, of course, anytime I try to record this dude, well, this is Abel, this is my son. He has been trying to grab the loudest toys he owns.
Yeah.
And is putting on them.
We had to stop and make an edit.
He's been playing with them behind the camera, so I just had to get up because he grabbed another one and was just ripping it behind us. I'm sitting behind one right now, hiding it from him because any other time he's just chill, but right now he's like, let me just play with every single toy. But yeah, this is Abel, and then if you look behind us, this is all of our childhood photos.
Yeah. I was kind of looking. Where's yours? Can you point to each of you guys' old photos up there?
Oh boy.
That's
you.
There's me with my stylish junior high flip hair.
This is my senior photo. I think it's a Midwestern thing. On all of the walls in my parents' living room, there's literally frames everywhere. On this wall over here, there's a canvas of cows because our family has cows. And I tell my dad it's his replacement kids because it's literally a canvas of 5 cows. And I'm like, that's literally us replaced.
It's a Southern thing too. You go to anybody's grandma's house and there's pictures all over the walls of like everything that's ever. So like, it's weird because like my room here, this is kind of my dude room. So like, there's a Tame Impala poster, there's a Lord of the Rings poster, there's a Spider-Man sign.
Nice.
I need to have more family pictures.
The necessities.
It's the necessities. Yeah, it's all of us. And it's funny, my best friend, she's been hanging out a bunch, and like my family calls her their other daughter. So her childhood photos up here also and on that wall. And we just hung them up randomly. And I was like, my parents aren't going to see this. And I pointed out, I was like, you see your other daughter on the wall?
Well, guys, good to hang with you tonight. Buddies, I'm so happy you were here. I didn't know until an hour ago that you were going to be on too. That's amazing.
I didn't know until probably a little bit more than that.
Well, you know the deal with Shaina. Things always happen.
I just make decisions and we go on the fly, so it works, and when we're at Hulaween, we'll do a live one. He'll be there also, so we'll see how it goes from there, live at Spirit Lake.
Blaze, you wouldn't happen to be coming down to Chattanooga for the pigeon show for her birthday, would you?
Oh, you should go. Yeah, tickets like $30. It's on a Sunday.
We'll see. This is the first time hearing about this.
I'm sure. Yeah, pigeons are playing in Chattanooga.
Yeah, come hang. Josh will be there too.
What day is it?
October 11th, my birthday.
But I mean, I know when your birthday
It's Sunday. It's a Sunday.
Okay. Ooh.
It's a possibility.
Probably not, but never say
so
never.
anybody
Never
here
say never.
should come see pigeons with it. Yeah. Well, good to hang with you guys. Good to see Abel. I've got to meet Abel a couple of times. He is a lovable but ungovernable dog.
That's a fact. I thought he was calmed down because my dad played with him and took him outside before we started recording, and no. Yeah, no. Can't trust this little menace.
No.
All right.
Not at all.
Thank you for petting him for me. Like to see him. All right.
Of
Thanks,
course.
guys. We'll talk to everybody soon. Get out there and radiate positivity.
All right. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Thank you so much.